First of all, like when we started the company, we were extremely excited, especially when we cracked this kind of design identity of the brand. Um, we had some initial sketches, renders, concept, and we're quite excited. But then we went to kind of production, like bringing this kind of transparent design to life was a lot of challenges in terms of how we develop the product, manufacture, and so on. But yeah, back in 2021, we launched our first product. It was earbuds. It was almost a proof of concept and really focusing on design differentiation at the time. That was, let's say, the low-hanging fruit. We had this assumption that we wanted the nothing products to be recognizable from 2 meters away. Whereas at the time, if you would put all the sort of smartphone in the industry, remove the logo, you wouldn't be able to tell which smartphone is from which. So the first kind of assumption was like, okay, can this work? Just focus on design differentiation. So we launched A1 at the time, sold over 500,000 units. Quite small if you look at the scale, but as a startup in that space where a lot of people thought it would be crazy to even, take a chance at this in a very commoditized market and ultra competitive market. It worked out. We shipped 500,000 units, enabled us to kind of raise our Series B. And then we started developing a smartphone. We launched our first phone, the Phone 1, that was back in 2022. Then we doubled down with the Phone 2 in 2023. And I think just to give you context, over the last kind of 10 to 15 years, there hasn't been a brand that has managed to succeed to launch a second generation smartphone, because the value chain as part of what it takes to kind of develop and sell a smartphone is extremely complex, and there is no room for errors. Whether it's like the supply chain, the product development, manufacturing, go-to-market, marketing, if any of those stages fail, you go bankrupt right away, especially as a new brand. But we managed to, there were some very tense situations, but we managed to kind of navigate that through. We launched Phone 2. At the time, I remember MKBHD awarded us the best smartphone of the year with Phone 2. We proved to the market we could deliver on a premium flagship level user experience, really focusing on both hardware differentiation, but also software. Then starting 2024, our whole kind of strategy there was to start scaling. Across the first 3 years, we had sort of developed a unique product offering for nothing, both from a hardware and software perspective. And our year 4 was all about scaling. So we launched our 2A. That was one of the biggest launches here in India. And since then, we've been sort of going on the hyper-growth trajectory. And over the last 8 quarters, 7 out of the last 8 quarters, nothing has been the fastest growing brand in India. So it's been quite an intense journey, but very rewarding and quite exciting. And yeah, as you mentioned, India has been a big part of that growth. It is a strategic market. A lot has been happening on a kind of global front out of India in our industry. We definitely see India being at the forefront of it for the foreseeable future, if I'm honest. It feels like almost what China was like 10 years ago in terms of being like a technology hub where we saw a lot of new smartphone brands coming out of it. The work that India has done over the last kind of 10 years, building itself as a manufacturing hub from an assembly standpoint, and now shifting its focus towards the rest of the supply chain, focusing on electronic components. It feels like this is going to be the next kind of global platform when it comes to consumer tech. So this is why I'm here as well. I spend a lot more time in India now because this is where the next opportunity is.
So I want to go deeper into that. Not only is Nothing one of the fastest growing brands for India, but India, the reverse is also true. India is one of the fastest growing markets for
For
Nothing.
sure.
And I wanted to ask you, is there a number, a breakout that you can give in terms of how many units have you sold here? What are the revenues that are coming out of the market, or at least what are the growth numbers? Is it a single digit, double digit growth? Has it gone up, gone down over the last year? Any sense on where the market is in either the unit terms or revenue terms?
So we haven't disclosed any kind of specific numbers, but year on year for the last 2 years has been over 50% year on year growth.
For you in India?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's been
that's great. Because
ever since we entered, like ever since 2024, and even like on the third party
Reports.
reports. That's where also we've been kind of identify as the fastest growing brand. As I mentioned, like 7 out of the 8 last quarters. The only quarter that we weren't the fastest growing brand last year was during the festive season, which a lot of price promotions are happening. But this is, if anything, a good thing, right? Like if your only way is to kind of be selling products when products are being discounted, it's not really something sustainable. So I'm almost happy with that as well.
Do you see that momentum continuing? Is 50% growth sustainable going forward as your base increases in India? And what has really driven this growth for you? 50% is a good number. What were the factors that drove this growth for your brand?
I think, for the longest period of time, India has been treated as a value market. I think that has drastically changed over the past few years. Premiumization is kicking in, globalization, India's role on the global level is being exponential as well. I can see, sort of like, fashion, I can see also, the youth here, the way they dress and so on, it's quite on par with the West. I feel it's opening up, and that kind of energy, the economic boom along the way, like premiumization is kicking in. People are looking to buy into more aspirational brands as well. Brands that will allow to, for themselves to kind of, empower self-expression, have something differentiated, some great products, and not solely buying products for value for money. And that's what we have seen, like a lot of, those brands are very strong in sort of entry and mid-range segment. A lot of those people are upgrading onto nothing product, because I think that's a reality. People, are expecting like, great user experience, something a bit different, premium build, premium products, and I feel that kind of dynamic makes our product market fit just like optimal in a way. And I think the market condition alongside with, our product vision in terms of building something quite unique, always being very extremely user-centric as well. We started this company as users, right? Like being dissatisfied by what the market was offering. So we're extremely close to our users. We're extremely close to Indian users. For reference, when we started this company, we hadn't even launched a product back then. So we raised our Series A, and what we did a community crowdfunding, because we wanted to allow people that were kind of early supporters of the brand have, almost skin in the game. Okay, you're supporting us, you're talking about the brand, so we wanted to allow them to have that kind of financial upside.
Almost like being a shareholder.
Not almost, like being a shareholder, exactly. And out of those people, we actually elected a community board observer. And that person, and still as of today, they change every year. But on the first year, that person was from India. Now he's working with us out of our London office. And the whole point is like that person would sit during our board meetings and kind of funnel any feedback from end users, both from the product, company level, marketing, whatever sort of the people within our community have to say about the company. So we've kept that kind of proximity, ensuring also like a strong product market fit as well from a more functional standpoint. So we've already been very close to the market and very kind of thorough in terms of what goes in and what goes out of our products.
If you look at the India market, and I want to break it down into two parts. One is what you talked about, which is a technology hub. And we've seen great strides, great milestones being reached and achieved by the market, by India itself on manufacturing and some of the other things, like regulations. The other is, of course, the manufacturing bit. So the manufacturing production piece, the technology piece, the talent, the R&D and engineering. When you look at India and your plans for India, how do you plan to capitalize on, one, the talent base here to have your own, grow your own R&D base here? What are those plans like? What is that footprint like today? Is it zero, going to scale up? Is it in the reckoning, in your blueprint anywhere? On the manufacturing side itself as well, where are you on manufacturing and producing in India for nothing and associated brands?
We've been, so first and foremost, we've been assembling our smartphone ever since we started this company, ever since phone 1, with a lot of challenges at the time, because also our transparency, with our transparent design, like some dust was coming along. So we had to innovate on a lot of processes out of our factory here in Chennai. But we've been, again, assembling our products ever since we started this company. And to your point, we've seen the momentum and where kind of India is heading on the global stage. And as a result of it, we already kind of initiated that last year. Our sub-brand CMF, we're building into an independent brand, relocating the headquarters here out of India. We recently, I shared it on social media, we recently registered the company here out of India. And the whole idea is to kind of capitalize on that shift and the momentum that's coming out of India and really kind of build CMF, as we like to say, from India to the world. And that will include kind of building our kind of product capabilities and so on and so on. The first key milestone was to have a manufacturing partner. So we've announced our joint venture with Optimus end of last year. And this, is going to be extremely important as part of our kind of manufacturing journey out of India, and as we hopefully kind of start building our product capabilities as well gradually. Because as you mentioned, all the right ingredients are here. From talent to government policy supporting that, to the local economy kind of booming, because it's a big market as well from a demand standpoint, right? So you can leverage that to also scale those brands to then go kind of globally, right?
Because the ecosystem, so bits and parts coming together in many of these hubs.
100%. I mean, and even you can sense it. The energy I feel here of India. I don't sit in many places. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are coming up, a lot of kind of startups. So you can feel India is turning into this kind of technology hub. And to your point, the whole ecosystem is being built at the moment. And even from a supply chain and all the kind of electronics components, that's been initiating. Some are being a bit kind of skeptic about it, but I feel when the whole kind of Make in India initiative started 10 years ago, there were also probably a lot of people that were skeptic about, if India could do it. And nowadays, number speaks by itself. For instance, the iPhone's been exported. 1 out of 4 or 5 iPhones sold in the world are made in India. So, it's just a matter of time. You just, like us, when we just had to start. Once you start, eventually you'll find ways to make things happen. And I'm sure the whole manufacturing assembly was a success. And now with the kind of establishing the supply chain here, I'm also quite bullish on it.
So the manufacturing is happening on the CMF or also the core
on both
brand? And is it only for smartphones? Are you pivoting to your other product portfolio as well, coming out of being produced in India and exported from India?
Exactly. So smartphone, ever since we started, audio products and smart products, that's what we've kind of, the first step as part of that joint venture we have with Optimus. And also from an export standpoint, we start exporting our products earlier last year, both with the 2A, 3A series, as well as the flagship phone, the Phone 3.